welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we got a fun eye look going on because I tested out the new Norvina Volume 1 palette from Ananstasia Beverly Hills. This is their brand new 25 pan palette. It's a totally new formula, totally new palette idea from ABH. So I will be testing it out on my eyes, showing you guys how I get this look right here, talking all about the palette. So if that sounds good, why don't we go ahead and get started. Release from Ananstasia Beverly Hills. This is the ABH Norvina Collection palette. This right here is their Volume 1 palette. So this is a brand new release from Ananstasia, something totally different that they've done in the past with a very large 25 pan palette. So inside here you do get 25 different shades. They're calling this their Pro Pigment Palette. So this does have pigments on it, and I noticed when I did get this, I purchased mine at Sephora. I did have a little card in here just saying that they are not safe for the eyes. It tells you all of the shades that are not safe for the eyes. So this is going to be a pigment palette, which is going to be different than regular formula of like eyeshadows or mattes that you're normally used to using. So these are going to be more of a pressed pigment, so it means that they can stain the eyes. And also they might be a little bit harder to work with. You guys will see that when I tried to get this eye look with this palette. But again, it is 25 different shades. The shade names on it are actually really nice. So they go like A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. I really like that. The second row is going to be B, third row C, D, and then E. I think it makes it really easy when you're trying to just figure out the shade really quickly. I do like that about it. It has a really nice mirror, which is really, really nice. And the palette in general, the color selection is just really fun. Obviously, if you're not into bright colors, and this might not be the palette for you, but for me, I love bright and fun colors, so that made me want to grab this one. I did get mine at Sephora. It was $60 for the palette. I got it right at the last day of the Sephora VIB sale, so I did get a little bit of a discount on it, but the regular retail price is $60. I know you can get it at Ulta.com, Sephora.com, as well as ABH's website. They did also release some lipsticks along with this palette with the launch as well, but we are going to be just trying the eyeshadow palette today. Like I said, I created this look with it. It was a bit of an issue, so you guys will kind of see that throughout the video of me just like testing it out. I do want to, however, show you swatches of all of the 25 shades, so I'm going to first show you swatches and then we'll move on to testing out the eyeshadow palette. So right here I do have swatches of row A as well as row B. Because they are pressed pigments, I feel like the mattes in here or the pressed pigments aren't swatching maybe as well as they could, but the shimmers actually swatch really, really nicely. Okay, and then up next we have rows C as well as row D. I feel like these ones, I don't know, the pigments swatched a lot better on this row. Still, those shimmers swatched absolutely beautiful, but I do feel like we had a little bit of trouble with like the black and the white shade, but that's pretty typical with pigments. All right, and then lastly, right here we have row E, so those are your last 5 shades right there. And I will say that all of these did not stain. I just used a makeup wipe to remove them, and I didn't have any staining. My finger, however, looks a little stained from the process, but my actual arm, I don't have any stains from the shadow, which is a good sign. All right, so now that we have swatched all of the 25 shades, why don't we go ahead and move into trying them out on the eyes. I'll let you guys know how I think this performed and how I got this eye look right here. All right, you guys, so we are going to go ahead and start trying this out on the eyes. So for this palette, it does come with the 25 different shades. It's a very colorful, bright palette. I love the packaging. It's actually really nice. I love how large the mirror is. This mirror is huge. So it is a very big palette, but I also feel like it's still compact, like it's not too huge, which I think is nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. I am going to be using my Doll 10 brushes, of course. If you guys want to purchase my brush collection with Doll 10, I will have it linked down below for you guys to check out, but I will be using those brushes. So since these are pigments, I'm trying to decide how I kind of want to start this look. I think I'm going to go into the shade E3 first, which is kind of like this mustardy shade down here at the bottom. I'm going to take that with my crease creator, and I'm going to go in with that shade to first put it into my crease. Now I know since these are pigments, I'm not sure exactly how they're going to blend. You might have to like place them down first and then blend them. It just kind of depends. We'll have to see how it goes. Since this is my first time trying this palette, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work. See, that does look a little patchy there on the end. I feel like pigments are a little bit harder to work with you can't use them in a typical way that you would use like a normal matte. It's kind of one of those things where you have to kind of place it and then work very smally to blend it. So I'm gonna try to do that on the other eye here. Pick up a little bit of it and kind of just place it on the eye instead of blending it, and see if that kind of gives this more of a better blend. So you see how this kind of looks patchy over here in the corner, and that one, if I just blend it like ever so slightly here in the end, it looks a little bit better. So you kind of might have to do that with these, kind of just pack them on. They're not really getting any fallout in the pan. It's not like a normal ABH shadow where I feel like you touch it and it just kind of poofs apart. Doesn't seem like it's doing that, but it definitely is going to be a little bit more tricky, I think, to work with because of the pressed pigments. All right, so now that we've got that shade mostly blended, I'm going to go in with my Buff blender, and I'm thinking I want to play with, I don't know. I know I want to use the shade D2, which is like this blue purple. I know I want to use that. So I think to go with it, I'm actually going to go in with the purples. So I'm first going to start with the shade A2, which is this one right here, and I'm going to pack this one onto my lid. So again, I'm kind of just gonna kind of pat this onto my lid, and then I'll blend it out after. So I'm kind of just gonna map out where I want the shadow to go, blend it afterwards. The shade is definitely very, very pigmented. So since these are pigments as well, you probably will get eye staining with these. It doesn't say that they're eye safe. I think on the package it said all of the pigments were not eye safe. So keep that in mind if you do plan on purchasing the palette. It might be an option that is going to stain your eyes. So just kind of remember that. So I'm kind of just going to flick this out here. And I just kind of put it everywhere where I think I want it. I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. And then I'm going to come in with a clean brush and just kind of clean up the edges. So just as I thought, like when you kind of start to blend it out, like if you were to take your brush and you kind of start to blend it out, it does kind of disappear. So you can see like it's more pigmented over here. And when you kind of start to work and blend it, it kind of loses the pigment, which is what happens, I feel like, a lot of times with the pressed pigments. So for me, I feel like they are always just a little bit more difficult to work with than regular eyeshadow palettes. All right, so now that we've got that color, I'm gonna go ahead and build it up a little bit. I'm gonna go into A3, which is the next one over. And I am gonna go ahead and just pick this one up and apply it directly on top of that first purple, just to kind of build it up a little bit more. Okay, so now we've got both of those on the eye, and I'm gonna go in with a little bit of a smaller brush here. And I'm gonna go into the deeper purple, which is a really, really pretty purple. So let's go ahead and go in with my Transition Transformer, this like really small, dense brush. And I'm gonna go into B4, which is this one right here, really deep purple. And I'm gonna work this one just on the outer portion of my lid. So just packing this one just on the outer portion and kind of like have a little ombre moment. So I think I'm gonna stop it right about there because that's where we're gonna add our shimmers. So we'll do the same thing on this eye. Okay, so now with the Dimension Designer, I am gonna go in and just kind of work around these edges really quickly. I'm not gonna do a lot. It's a clean brush, so I'm kind of just going to buff out these edges just to make sure it's blended. I do think that this could be a little more intense too if I added more of like a white base with it. I think that the shadows could be even more intense, but I'm pretty happy with the pigmentation. They look really pigmented. So I think now I'm gonna go on to the shimmer, which I'm really excited about. So I'm gonna go in with my shadow shader and the shade D2. This is the one I was most excited about in the palette. It's kind of like a purpley blue. Just looks absolutely gorgeous. So I am gonna pick it up on my brush and we'll see how it looks first without any Fix Plus. And then I'll go ahead and add some to it. So we'll see here. I feel like it needs, yeah, it needs a spray. So I'm gonna actually spray my brush with just some MAC Fix Plus really quickly, just to really dampen it. And it'll kind of give it more of like a foiled look, which is more what I'm going for. And then see what difference that makes. Definitely always go in with a wet brush. It really, really brings out the pigmentation in the colors. That's a very pretty color. I really like it. It's kind of like I said, like a blue pink shade. I'm getting quite a bit of fallout. I don't know if you guys can tell, quite a bit of fallout with that shade though. And normally when I dampen my brush, that doesn't really happen, but I am getting quite a bit of fallout with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and just tap this on, and that looks really cool. I really like that shade. It's very fun. It's kind of like I said, like a blue purple, but it's nothing like I think I have in my collection. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and dust away the fallout that we did get. And I am noticing that as I'm like sitting here, I think that these purples are kind of fading. Like they don't look as vibrant as they first did when I applied them. So I'm trying to think what I want to do next. I think I want to add some of this gold shade, and I want to layer it just on like my inner corner. It's a really, really pretty gold. It's the C2. I'm just going to try using my finger. Just want this just on like the front. It'd be easier if I didn't have such long nails, but I'm just kind of putting it right here on my tear ducts. I'm just kind of layering it over top of that other shade. I'm actually gonna grab my Detail Dazzler, I think, because I don't think that's working with just my finger. So I'm gonna pick up the shade and just add it to the inner corner. I think I still need to spritz my brush. It looked good with a finger though, so you could probably apply these pigments with your finger if you didn't want to go in with a damp brush. But I definitely think you need a damp brush with these for sure. All right, so I'm gonna go back in with A2, the purple, and kind of just go back over top of this purple. But I feel like we lost. I'm not really sure why I feel like we lost pigmentation there. It might have been when I did that blending. But I just feel like it didn't look as purple as it did when we first started. But I still feel like it looks just harsh, like we need to blend it out. Try this again, but see when I blend it, it like loses its pigment. So I'm actually gonna take some of the D4 shade, and I'm gonna add this one on the outer portion. So kind of connect it with the blue shimmer, but just to kind of give us a little bit more blend right here. For a lower lash line, I'm gonna go into B1 right here and apply that one directly onto my lower lash line. It's kind of like a pink shade, and kind of blend that in. I do feel like this eye look is just kind of looking messy, if I'm being honest, but I could probably spend all day trying to fix it. Like over here, I just feel like it looks really messy. I don't know. I don't know if I'm loving this palette. I just find them harder to use, honestly, and I knew that when I bought it, but I was kind of like, okay, well, let me try it. It has so many fun colors in it, but I think just for my personal preference, I really find that these palettes like this, the pigment palettes, are very hard to work with. So if you're a beginner in makeup, I don't know that I can recommend this palette because I feel like it's just harder to use. So we'll see when I continue to try it out. Obviously, I'm going to continue to use it and see if I can come up with more looks that I'm happier with this, or happier with than this look. But for me, I just feel like it's not my best eye look. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and actually add some lashes and a wing and see if we can't help this, and then I'll be right back. All right, so we are back after applying our lashes. I also popped on a lip color. I will have it down in the description box. So I think the lashes definitely helped the eye look. I still am noticing quite a bit of patchiness though, but I don't think it's the worst eye look I've ever done. It's definitely not my most favoriteest either. So I think first impression wise on this palette, I do think that you get a lot of colors in here. It's a very fun, cohesive palette. I think you can get a ton of different looks out of this, and I'm excited to, I'm gonna take this out of my hair. I'm excited to continue to play with it. I think the mirror is great. I do, however, think that this one is a bit challenging if you are a beginner into makeup or someone who isn't like super familiar with pigments. I don't think that this will be like the palette for you, which I don't think is what it's even intended for. I definitely think that this is for more of an advanced artist who likes to play with color, who knows how to work with pigments. Even myself, like I said, I was struggling pretty hard with this, but I think the pigmentation of them is really nice. So I will continue to try this out, and I'll come back and let you guys know what I think, because I do want to continue to try it out, and I am excited about this palette. And all over, I do like the look. I just don't know that I love it, and I do think it was quite hard to achieve it. But let me know what you guys think down below. What do you think of this makeup look? Do you like the way the eye look turned out? Is this a palette you have your eyes on? Are you thinking about getting it? What do you think of this new like larger design from ABH? I know it's something totally different for them, so let me know down below what you guys think. Give this one a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, friends.